is too kind, I don't know that guy. Well, first thing first, let's get this clear. I came to Salt Lake City, Utah. You people are too nice. I don't get it. We're Minnesota, I'm from Minnesota, we claim we're nice, but I mean people who can give us a run for our money. And that is amazing. Your city is clean, and the people here are amazing. I mean, you come to Utah, and the first thing Felicia takes me to is to go meet the Mormons. You know? And that was interesting, and it was an eye-opening experience because I saw something that basically was good, what you can call food for the soul. I went to the help center, and I was told braggingly Utah is the state whereby the most volunteers exist in America. Again, you're going to give Minnesota a run for its money. So let me get started here. Average Mohamed. Well, I'm just an average guy. And who are we and what do we do? What is Average Mohamed Organization? It's a counter-ideology platform. Our mission statement of goals is promoting peace. We say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh as Muslims, meaning that may peace of God be upon you. And that's the first priority and the first policy of Muslims is the value and the doctrination and the understanding of the word peace, salam. And we promote peace because it's a global value. It doesn't matter what culture you go to, what community you go to, what society you go to, peace is a valued commodity. It is a commodity which can be used, abused, or even destroyed. But it is a policy that we promote. We promote democracy. And when we talk about democracy, we talk about rights, freedom, liberties. And we are against extremism of religious nature, which is whether, if you've lived in this world in the last 20 years, you have heard of Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, Shabaab, and things of those sort. And whether it's racial nature, you've heard of the neo-Nazis, you've heard of the Ku Klux Klan, you've heard of other people and other organizations along those lines. And we are against hate. When we talk about hate, we talk about hate because hate is the underlying tool that leads to extremism. If you understand that, hate of anti-Semitism, hatred of our Jewish community, hatred of our Christian community, which is happening around the world now, Islamophobia, which exists after post-September 11th, and racism and anti-LGBTQ community. Our mantra, as Felicia says, it takes an idea to defeat an idea. Our role as Average Mohamed is to furnish democracies and republics with ideas. We are targeting youth between the age of 8 and 25 years of age. Over half the Muslim world is under the age of 35 today as we speak. Over half. And majority are under the age of 20 years of age. It doesn't matter which Muslim country you go to. And we also target mainstream society, meaning that our messages go to all races, all sexuality, all nationality, all gender, and all communities. Why do we target this community? Well, if you're all like me, you've already made up your mind about what it is you believe in, what concepts you understand, and what your politics are. You know, very rarely do people our age change their minds. But the kids, these are the formative years. This is when they're trying to figure out what is good and wrong, what is right and right, what should I believe in, what should I not believe in. So we try to make an attempt to reach their mind space. And our goal is to stop indoctrination into hate, into democracy, or into anti-extremism. What factors led to the creation of Average Mohamed? Well, ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Shabaab came to my town. I live in Minnesota, beloved Minnesota, I love Minnesota. In Minnesota in 2017, over 20 individuals joined Al-Qaeda affiliate called Shabaab. Now at that time we were shocked. We were shocked, but it was expected because Shabaab is a Somali terrorist organization based in Somalia. And their theme that they were using was nationalistic sentiment. At that time, our neighbor, Ethiopia, had entered Somalia. And Somalis and Ethiopians have been fighting since the 7th century, so there's history for that. And they used that to kind of garner support. But underneath, they were carrying their radical ideology with them. And the kids went because their grandfather and their uncles fought against the Ethiopians. So it's something that we've seen before. But it still shocked us, and we kept quiet about it. We kept quiet about it because we didn't know what to do. But in 2014, then came ISIS, Islamic State, and they came and they recruited my community. Again, youth started going. Now this We couldn't understand. Why are kids leaving Minnesota, leaving our democracy, leaving our healthcare, our access to education, our access to equal opportunity, our access to good life? I mean, we left warfare to come to America. This is the promised land. When a refugee comes to America, that's what we believe as immigrants. Now, why would a kid leave that? So we didn't understand why they had to go to Iraq and Syria. So I sat down and we had conversations, a bunch of us. And I've been in the Free Muslim Coalition Against Terrorism, and I figured out that there is an issue here. And what was the issue? Now, the issue was the propaganda. Now, you guys have seen the beheading videos. That's not what got our kids. You know what got our kids? It's the fact that these people are calling themselves revolutionaries. It's the fact that they use the terminology of Islam so well. They are sophisticated. Their playbook is impressive. They have a category, an understanding for which to attack and recruit our kids. I've literally seen a playbook by ISIS. It is a book the size of an encyclopedia. If it's a girl, give them marriage. If it's a boy, show them adventure. If it's an idealist, share ideals with them. Bottom line is they isolate you and then they indoctrinate you. And they indoctrinate you with videos. So we decided to create videos of our own to counter this counter ideology. We can't do everything, so we do something. So what did I do? Well, we decided that we're going to go into 5 areas. And these 5 areas came about organically. And the first thing is we started creating videos. Now you have to understand, the first thing I started creating was posters. They sucked. I mean, the posters were horrible. And people didn't get it. I was trying to be artistic and I have no artistic bone in me. So the second thing we did is live videos. Now those sucked even more. Kids were like, Mohamed, this is so cheesy, don't bring it to us. You know, and I was trying to show it to kids and kids were like, Mohamed, this is bad acting. I mean, B movies are better than this. I was like, okay, let's try something else. So I hooked up with a guy from India and I started making cartoons. Lord and behold, the kids love cartoons. I don't know how much they loved it, but they would watch anything in cartoons. So here we go with our messages and we started making cartoons. And here's the thing, I've been blessed. Every time I put up a cartoon on social media, it went viral. Because the demand for such information exists. People want to know, what's the other side saying? What did I do then? Then what happens is people started calling me. Teachers started calling me. And the teachers were like, Mohamed, I got a class, can you come speak? Mohamed, we got a school, can you come speak? Imams started calling me. And the imams were like, Mohamed, I want to talk about this issue, but I don't know how to talk about it without alienating my community. You have a program, can you come and speak to my kids? Can you come speak in my congregation? Madrasa is Sunday Islamic schoolings, and we started going there. Then the synagogues and the churches got it. And they said, we're trying to understand your community. Can you come talk to us? Because all we see on TV is people blowing up things. And we are at war. This is post-September 11. We're in Iraq and in Afghanistan and over 25 other countries. And our kids, our neighbors, our friends are going out there and we want to know what's going on. So there we go. We reach out and we make communion. Communion between faiths. In the spirit of interfaith alliance. Now, what else do? We work with project with kids. I get funded by Regional Arts Council, which such as Minnesota is a great art state and culture. It's called Minnesota Regional Arts Council, and we work with kids. And I've worked with the police department, St. Paul Police Department, and worked with them for 2 years to work with kids in terms of their outreach program. And we work with, right now, I'm creating an after-school program when I go back, and that is basically going to be running all year round. Because of COVID, we couldn't do it. Now, after COVID, we were able to staff it and do it. And then again, what happened is there is a group, an organization which is like, you know, Utah Council of Citizen Diplomacy. It's called Global Minnesota. They call me and they say, Mohamed, we get delegations. The State Department International Visitor Leadership Program brings people from across the world. There's an organization called Global Ties USA. They bring people from across the world. NGO, clergy, women leaders, activists, influencers, media. They want to know, what are you doing? What's working in your community? And how they can learn from you. So I started engaging them and I started training them and I started talking to them. Now, the last part was media. Guess who calls you? New York Times, Wall Street Journal, CBS 60 Minutes. And they're like, Mohamed, we want to interview. I'm like, yeah, but you know, I'm just an average Mohamed, right? So guess what? I had to learn how to talk sound bites. Because at first, when I first talking to them, I was speaking 20 minutes too passionately. And then when I look at the article, he quoted me for 2 lines. So you're like, okay, so let me give them the 2 lines. So I had to learn that process. This is a learning process. Nobody's perfect. Like I said, I'm just an average Mohamed. And I've been learning and researching and learning and figuring out how to do this effectively. Now, what factors lead to extremism? This is what I've learned. Researchers say a couple of things about extremism. Let me begin with the first one. Grievances. Now, for Muslim extremists, Islam is under attack. They believe Islam that is being practiced today is not Islam that should be practiced today, that it is polluted, that democracy is an alien philosophy, that the concept of gender equity is a foreign policy, is un-Islamic, and the concept of things being practiced according to Muslims who are secular is un-Islamic, and they want an unsecular society. In essence, they're looking for a puritanical society that never existed. It didn't exist, because Islam is tolerance. We tolerate a lot of things, just not sin. But Islam is a tolerant religion of multi-faith, multi-color, multi-everything along the lines, multi-sects. They don't even agree with the sects. I'm a Sufi, and we are considered heretics under Islam. And there are many other sects along the lines, Shia, and along the lines of Sunni. There's many other sects who are considered heretics by these people because they believe in one rule, one aspect, one understanding. It is an intolerant view of life, which basically is now enforcing itself on our forces. Now, for white supremacists, which we're finding out, it's the same playbook. It's hate. It's others are coming to our country, others are coming to our society, they're taking over. There's genocide of our community. You've heard of this theory, white replacement theory. I mean, it's been since Buffalo shooting. You've heard about that, I believe, if you've seen the news. This is things which basically they're learning. You know, guess who they're learning from? Qaeda and ISIS. The same techniques, the same ideology, the same methodology. So guess what? We decided we're going to do something about that too. Because my Muslim community comes to me and says, Mohamed, every time you talk about terrorism for Muslims. What about them? Because our mosque in Bloomington got bombed by white supremacists in Minnesota. What would you do to protect us too? And I said, okay, we'll do something. So we get messages along those lines too. Now, information networks, they build networks. There is media, sophisticated media. Al-Qaeda has it, ISIS has it, everyone has it. The white supremacists too. This media goes on the internet. Guess what COVID did? COVID put people in the house. They had all this time. And guess what they were doing when these violent people who were trying to destroy civilization as we understand it, as we accept it, as we want it. They're reaching out. And they're reaching out to your kids. They target kids because people like us, we're sophisticated enough to know crap. So, Al-Qaeda and ISIS releases about 12 to 15 videos a month. Since Afghanistan fell, it's gone up to 35 videos a month. They are on the ascendancy now. Ascendancy. And the Anti-Defamation League, which is a civil rights organization here in America, a good organization, has documented 2020 as the most dissemination of white supremacy propaganda in America. There's no community, no state, no area that has not been touched by it. Now, the third part is enabling support structures. They build communities. You have to understand, they love each other. They take care of each other. They condition you to love each other. They condition you to have a society and a community that basically takes care of each other. But you have to agree with the hate. That's an enabling structure. And that's what empowers them. Now usually it's a face-to-face or it's done through social media. It's done now, sophisticated enough, through your video games. Your kids are playing games right now with people they don't know across the world. You never know how they do it. And I'll tell you how in the future. And the fourth part is the final stage, which means they act on their values. You've heard of Poway synagogue shooting. You've heard of Pulse nightclub shooting. You've heard of Buffalo shooting just last month. You've heard of Emmanuel church shooting. You've heard of, I mean, I can go on and on. The abomination of what they're doing is impressive. It is impressive because they are relentless and they act on this. Now, the good news. The good news is with counter-ideology, we can disrupt stage 1, grievances. That's what we do at Average Mohamed. And stage 2, enabling networks. We can intrude on those networks. How? Well, we do the same thing they do. We reach out, we communicate, we talk, and we engage. Now, stage 3 and 4, that is the domain of the good guys. The final stage of violent actions is the domain of our good guys, such as our government agencies, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, the NSA, the DIA, the Marines, the Navy, the Army, and the CIA. The good guys. And the good guys are the guys who keep barbarians coming through our gates. And they do that. You know, otherwise we'd be in a war-zone state. Because I've seen what they're doing in other countries where there are no good guys. Or the good guys are compromised. Now, how do we go about doing this counter-ideology? Well, I like to say, don't talk about it, show me. So let me show you what I mean. I'll share a video with you. The first of 3. You just came back from Syria.
Yeah, I wanted to join the caliphate, but now I see it was a caliphate.
What you say? A caliphate?
At first, it was great. I felt like I was appreciated there. They gave me everything. I was no one here, but over there, I became a fighter.
Okay.
Then, things changed. Security caught another fighter, my friend, listening to music. They arrested him. He had to be whooped. I had to do it. This demoralized me. My group leader demanded that I become a suicide bomber in the middle of the market, kill women and children. I knew then I would have to leave. I knew then they were caliphate.
And now you're here?
I came back home and now I'm a criminal because I joined the Islamic State. I thought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala demanded it. It was the biggest mistake of my life.
Extremist lie. I stayed home and became a better Muslim under democracy. I have a family, children, hope, education, and my country is waiting for me to build it. I am free and I have no hatred to kill others. My life is better than what the caliphate offered you. You will either get killed, or end up in jail with the caliphate. Theirs is a death cult. They worship death. That is not Islam. A caliphate indeed. We made that cartoon and we're partnership with Facebook. Facebook gave us advertisement credit. I paid for that cartoon myself. 90% of what you're about to see has been paid for out of my pocket. And there's a reason why. And Facebook gave us $3,000 in advertisement credit. And we reached 750,000 Muslims in 5 states with that message. Impact. And the responses has been, well, it makes sense. You have to understand, when ISIS formed itself, we had 4 caliphs. Caliphate was the pre-Islamic, the Islamic community that was created by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who basically created the caliphate. And the caliphate came after the Prophet died. They are first 4 men, Uthman, Umar, Abu Bakr, and Ali, radiallahu anhu, may peace be upon them too. Now, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, in Syria, when he created ISIS, called himself the 5th caliphate. This is powerful. You have to understand, they're reaching out. This is a powerful thing. And the people who are going out there, the kids who are going out there, they thought this is a revolution. This is the beginning of something new. But these people are beheading, chopping off hands, and enslaving people, and committing genocide on Christians. And they want to kill Jews, and everyone else who believes in democracy, including moderate Muslims and Muslims who are secular, like me. We didn't exist, we didn't have any room in the community. So we called it a caliphate. It's a fake. Does it exist today? Only in theory. They've lost their lands in Syria and Iraq. You know? Thanks to the good guys again, those in the international community and those of our soldiers. It is through their blood and their sweat we got those lands liberated. Now again, what does that mean? That means basically we are doing a counter-ideology, telling them, look, those who believe this was a caliphate, this is what's happening to them. Every week, every month, the FBI has one person at least arrested for terrorism and terrorism-related organizations. And guess what? Across America. And guess what organization they usually run to? ISIS. This is the counter message. The next message. It's called Prayers for the Martyred Christians.
For the martyred Christians. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
No human being should be killed because Christ is their Lord. Yet that is exactly what terrorists are doing in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East.
I will fear no evil, for thou art with me.
Islam is not neutral. When they massacred more than 3,400 Christians in Nigeria alone in 2021, when churches are bombed in Sri Lanka or Philippines or elsewhere in Asia, you saw the genocide against Christians in Iraq and Syria.
Thy rod and thy staff, thy comfort me.
These terrorists claim our noble faith, Islam. Know them by their true name, we Muslims call them Qaeda, misguided butchers of humanity.
Thou prepares a table before me in the presence of mine enemies.
We Muslims who live in democracy believe in freedom of religion, where any soul can worship any way they want to, and it's none of our business as a people. That's what we were taught. Let there be no compulsion in religion. Quran, chapter 2, verse 256.
Thou anoints my head with oil, my cup runs over.
Our noble prophet taught us Muslims. Christians are people of the book, believers of one God, thereby protected under the same Islamic rules that these butchers of humanity wanted to ignore.
The book of Psalms, 23.
Why kill Christians because Christ is their Lord? Because they want a civil war between Muslims and Christians. Average Mohamed says refuse the fall for terror. Christians, Muslims, it does not matter. We are humans and deserve to live free of terrorists. Call authorities if you see something. Say something. Islam demands it, and so does Christianity.
Amen.
This message is brought to you by Average Mohamed, Freedom Fighter.
That message came right on time. Just a week ago, 50 Christians were butchered in their church, in a Catholic church, for just being Christ is their Lord. They didn't commit any crime, they didn't insult anybody, didn't do anything other than just worship in Nigeria. This is an abomination. The reason why they do this is because they can't recruit these extremists. These violent people cannot recruit from the community unless they instigate a civil war within the community. And if the civil war comes and there's a tit-for-tat reaction within the communities that they are targeting, guess what? From the carnage they'll find the recruits. That's what they did in Iraq, that's what they did in Syria. That's what they tried to do, that's their playbook. Our goal is to build resilience within these communities, whether it's in West Africa, Middle East or Asia, and reach out to them and deliver this message to them and say, look, it doesn't matter whether you quote the Bible or the Quran, it's belief. We believe in freedom of religion here. We are the free people of the world. We are democracies. We come from republics with constitutional understanding that this is how we live, to create cohesion and a tolerance and a society whereby people can be respected and live in peace. Now it doesn't matter even if you don't believe, it matters not. So this message was paid for by Minnesota Regional Arts Council, which basically we're waiting for resources, and hopefully I'll talk to Facebook about it and see if we can disseminate it in West Africa or in the Middle East and many countries around the world. The third message is know what to do.
Actions needed against extremist hate ideas that lead to terrorism. You have seen acts of terrorism by white supremacists and those of religious extremists of ideas-based violence. If you use the internet, there's a good chance
you have been exposed to these ideas. A meme, a joke, a live stream, an internet influencer message.
Why do you do this to us, especially our kids?
To desensitize kids to traumatic content, create feelings of pride or shame, and if you or a loved one likes it, they want to indoctrinate you by isolating you or loved one from society, community, country, and your humanity, to become just like them. Merchants of misery, hate, and eventually death. Teaching you inclusion and diversity is the enemy. The white folks, Christians, Jews, Muslims, blacks, browns, Asians, and LGBTQI is the enemy now to destroy. To hate them all, or some, or one. You're not a fool to believe in hate. Only a fool believes the other is the enemy, because society, humanity, country will isolate you and do everything to keep you away. There goes your life, ambitions, and potential. This will destroy you because humanity's good shall win over evil.
Average Mohamed, what can one do to protect yourself or a loved one from hate ideas?
Research says do the following. 3 things if you suspect hate speech in a loved one. 1. Challenge the narrative. Explain why inclusion and diversity is the strength of our democracies. 2. Pay attention to the memes and content politically charged messages. Avoid them. Unfriending your loved one, you can call it out. For parents, know what your child is consuming. Protect them from it. 3. Listen to what they are saying or joking about. Learn from the internet. If it demeans or blames politically a race, people, nationality, sexuality, or religion, this is a sign the person is consuming hate ideas. It isn't a joke if it demeans others. That is how it starts into full-fledged hate eventually.
Good to know what to look out for. What can I do for a loved one? I don't want the extremist thinking manifesting into terrorism.
Research done by experts say do the following to stop that process. Listen to the views, even wrong ones, to challenge. Talk to others in their life. Build a supportive network around them of positive influence. Do not shame them. Again, do not shame them. You have every right to be angry, disgusted by the hate. Shaming only forces your loved one to dig in and isolates further to reinforcing the ideas. This is fodder for the extremists to recruit further. Foster open dialogue. Create a safe space for dialogue. Do please take a neutral tone approach. Anger has never solved a problem. We, the anti-hate coalition, exist in every society and country, like Average Mohamed. Reach out to the experts. Google extremism intervention organizations. Get the help you need to stop hate. Average Mohamed has hope. It is the intangible feature of our humanity. Information on how to act is power. We have as a people, race, nationalities, sexuality, and religions. Let's use free speech and non-violence ways for the good of country and humanity. We can defeat terrorism by all of us engaging against hate that breeds it. Hate which leads to terrorism, for some must go. For good shall prevail over evil. We believe in that hope for all humanity. Our Average Mohamed works. This message has been brought to you by Average Mohamed. That's all. Information is power. I go into schools. The goal is to educate our kids, but more importantly the parents too. They watch social media. And the more information we can relate to our community and our communities and our republics and our democracy, the better off we are. That's the goal. That's the whole purpose of Average Mohamed. And why do this? I mean, why should I exist? Why should Average Mohamed exist? Because that question comes up all the time with my wife. Why do you do this? Why do you keep on spending all your time, money and effort on this, you know? And that is a good question. And I ask myself that question all the time, especially when I'm broke, you know? And I'm like, okay, I just put in another $1,500, $3,000. I'm asking my cousin. And all these actors you're seeing is my brother, my cousin, my nephew, my sisters. I can't pay actors. And the cartoon is made by a guy who's giving me a huge discount in India. An impressive guy. So it's a Hindu who's making these cartoons. And the guys who sit on my board are Christians. And we come from the right, we come from the left. Why do this at all? Why should we exist? Well, they exist. This is Al-Qaeda celebrating 9/11. Over 3,000 of our citizens died that day. This is Anwar al-Awlaki, an American, an imam. He got taken out of circulation by the CIA. But this man, even though dead, is the most prolific recruiter for extremism. You understand? It is his ideas that gets these kids. It is not the man himself. He's the most prolific English-speaking recruiter in the world, and he's a dead man. That's my competition right there. And this is how they do it. This is ISIS in West Africa. They call themselves a wilaya. Wilaya means provincial. They go, they get the kids, they indoctrinate them. You see them watching the screen, you see them covered, they're teaching them violence, they're teaching them hate. Because they exist, Average Mohamed must exist. Because our governments have tried two things successfully, and they haven't completed the task yet. The problem is still with us. They've tried surveillance, they've tried war. But what our government and our people and multinationals and corporations don't understand is there is a third part. What Utah Council for Citizen Diplomacy does. Citizen diplomacy. It is the act of citizens talking to other citizens to change minds, to win minds. I say the hearts belong to Allah or Jesus or whatever else they hold value to. But the minds we can get, that's why we exist. And as long as they exist, we will exist and we'll do this work. Because at the end of the day, we are taught by Islam that if you save one life, it's equivalent to saving the whole of humanity. One life. How many lives can we save from this lifestyle? Thousands. How many can we impact? Tens of millions. Now, with our closing thoughts, there's a guy I like to quote all the time. Again, please forgive me if you didn't like it. But freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction. We don't pass it along to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day, we'll spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States, where men were free. I think you know him. He's an actor, turned president. His name is Ronald Reagan. And I'll tell you a fable my grandfather taught my father taught me. He said, a lion perched up on a hill, started crying. And he said, I'm the most hated animal in the kingdom of animals. And the sheep below him heard him cry. And the sheep cried with him. And they said, why are you hated? Understand this. You get to do what you want, achieve what you want, protect who you want, and serve and live the way you want to. We get eaten. We are sheep. We are food for other people, including you. So I'd rather be a lion and be hated than be a sheep. This man was a lion because he understood what freedom is. This is the height of communism. When we had the Bolshevik knocking down on our doors. So we're looking for lions. To become a lion and fight against those people who are trying to bring hate of anti-Semitism into our community, hate of racism into our community, hate of Christianity into our community and our society, hate of our LGBTQI community or Islamophobia. We won't accept that. We will fight. We will fight because we are lions. We are the free people of the world. We are Americans. And as a free people, this is what the native taught me, and this is what I pass along to everyone else in the world. Again, I want to thank Felicia Maxwell Barnett for inviting me here to Utah, Salt Lake City, where the people are giving me a run for my money for being nice. And I want to say the last thing is, may the God Creator continue blessing America, and we continue to be a free people. Thank you.
Not turning on. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Then I'm not going to use the microphone, I'll just talk really loud. So we'll do a question and answer. I'm going to start out with a question. Due to COVID, we're not passing around a microphone, so if you do have a question, speak up. If you're a little bit quiet, I'll try to repeat what it is that you said. But first, the first question I want to say is, or ask, is, you know, like I said, I first heard you in 2018. That was a long time ago, and the world has changed drastically since then. How has your message had to adapt over the last 6 years, either in groups that you're combating, or even in changing social media platforms?
Great question. If you don't adapt, you become extinct. Ask the dinosaurs that, you know? So adapting is something we do. As an immigrant, we came to America, and the first thing we did is get acclimatized to American ways. Now I grew up in Kenya. Everything is on the right-hand side. Everything in America is on the left-hand side. Even the dog you're pushing is on the left-hand side. So you have to learn things from scratch, the basics. So adapting has always existed. So what do? The first thing we did is we expanded our organization. At first, we were going after the violent extremists of religious from the Muslim community. Now, our mosque got bombed again in Bloomington. So we said, okay, now we need to go after extremist militias and extremist white supremacy community. And again, what happened is, again, there's the rising arc of dictatorships in our world now. Communism and theocracy, which basically is a threat equally to those other two organizations, to our democracy and our Bill of Rights and our freedoms in this country. You may not understand it, but what Martin Luther King taught us is injustice anywhere is injustice where? Everywhere. So we decided we're going to take on those three core things. And we expanded it. We said, who else is suffering from us? When the Christian community is being killed, so we'll defend them. We'll fight for their freedom. So will we fight for the Jews, so will we fight for the LGBTI community, so will we fight for the black people and the people of color, whether they're brown Asians, which basically last year was a record-breaking year for anti-Asian hate. Record-breaking because of COVID. Impressive. As impressive as they are, we are more impressive. If I can do this as an average Mohammed, with a mom and pop operation, looking for resources, who else can do it? Who says you can't do the same thing?
Okay, and then one other question being, you're taking on the most extreme terrorist groups in the world. I can only imagine that's had an impact and a threat on your family. If so, how do you create safety and boundaries around the messaging that you're sharing around you in your personal life?
I don't. Let me explain what I mean. Is tomorrow promised to any one of you tomorrow? Do you know what tomorrow is going to happen tomorrow? Nothing is promised to us tomorrow. That's the future of being a human being. So if tomorrow is not promised to us, then we make our stand today. Today is a good day to stand up and make your voice heard. Now, do I get that threat? Yes, Qaeda, ISIS, and Shabaab already sent me that threat. They told me if they catch me, they'll do things to me. You know what I tell them? I tell them what my 8-year-old tells them.
You know, Daddy, I don't care what you say now. That's what I say, time out. But the thing is, here's what I do know. When good people are afraid, bad people rule. When injustice runs amok, and those who can stand up for justice stay silent, injustice becomes the domain. When you can't see a Muslim saying these things on media, like I said, I go out to media. The reason why I go out to media is not because I'm looking for self-publicity. God help me. I'm not vain. Just about my hair. I have good hair. You know, but other than that, I have no vanity. I don't care about popularity or infamy or whether you like me or not. Take my message. That's what's important. So we make a stand today. So do I get hate mail? Yeah. The far left does want to cancel me? Yes. Do I get hate mail from far right? Yes. But do I get hate mail from good people by thousands who say thank you? Yes. There's the yin and yang to everything. And it's an issue. Plus we are Americans. We don't run, we don't hide, and we stand up, we take our bullocks. You know what I mean? We take it. But we dish it out too. So I'm dishing it out.
Okay, questions?
I'm still wondering, with all of this that you get reaction from everywhere, and a lot of negative reaction, how do you protect your family?
By Allah's grace. Plus I can call them all.
Great.
So you very eloquently use both across social media channels and messaging platforms to fight against the message of hate. But it's interesting that those two messages are being shared on the same types of platforms, which is almost like a new battleground. And so I wanted to ask you the question of what role do you think that social media platforms and messaging platforms have to play in this process as well?
Great question. You Irish?
Scotland.
Scotland! Even better. Well, the answer is this. I don't believe in censorship. I believe in business. I'm a capitalist at heart. I apologize in advance for those who are not. I have a family who are socialists, so I say that a lot. And this is what I do understand. Censorship is not the answer. The answer is empowering social media companies. Facebook has 40,000 people who basically just look at messages and take them down as fast as they go up. That's more than the FBI has. They're doing everything they can. But it's a marketplace. It's like this place right here, right now. Anybody can shout anything. And can you stop it? They try. Censorship and control by government is something which I don't advocate for. I believe the solution will come from the institutions themselves because they're in the interest of making money. And the profitability level, when they get negative press, affects their bottom line. So they will change and they will do everything within their power. And look at Facebook, Meta. They gave me equal opportunity and access to resources. We're working on denaturing right now. There's a campaign which we're looking for $12,000 to do in West Africa and East Africa. Basically, we revamped the caliphate to call it Boko Shaitan instead of Boko Haram. And call Al-Shabaab Al-Shayateen. Now Al-Shabaab means the youth. They're killing the youth. They're killing everybody. So we call them Al-Shayateen, those with the devil. Those with the devil. And we want the shepherd, who basically has access to YouTube, to see it. And Facebook to see it in the stream. And Facebook can do that because we share algorithms. Algorithms are fascinating. It doesn't matter who you are, but I can put my stuff in your feed, whether you like it or not. Whether you watch it or not is up to you. That's your choice. And we can get there. And if they Google the word suicide bomber, if they Google the word ISIS or Shabaab, or anything along the lines of hate or white supremacy, this comes up. But you need to put it in front of their face. Now, that is a wrong answer. Some people want to control social media. I am not one of those people. I believe in free speech, unabridged free speech, because it serves me. And more importantly, because it serves me, it serves society. Why do I do this work? Because I'm selfish. If it doesn't serve the self, it doesn't serve humanity. What am I selfish about? Peace, liberty, freedom, equality, justice.
and democracy. And that can only be achieved through free speech.
Other questions? All right, I've got one for you. A lot of times, nonprofits, you've got nonprofits who are working on downstream. They're on the front lines, they're solving world hunger, they're saving animals, they're helping LGBTQ communities. The work that you're doing is more upstream. It's prevention. It's stopping bad things from happening. How do you measure success? How do you know that your program is effective and working?
In schools, we do outtakes. 7 out of 10 kids say these messages have value in their life. 7 out of 10 kids say they will use this message. 10 out of 10 kids have seen hate messages. 10 out of 10 kids have seen hate messages, either on social media, either on the internet, in the school environment, or the environment within the society, in the public domain, or video games. Video games is the new outlet now. Now, 2 out of 10 kids will look for this. You know why? Because it's educational. It doesn't matter how you quote it. Anything educational, kids don't like it. So we put it in their face, we come into their schools, we come into wherever we invite them. And 90% of the time I don't charge. And the reason why we don't charge is because we're looking for access. COVID ruined it for all of us. But thank God we ain't scared of COVID no more. Thank you Pfizer, thank you Moderna, thank you Department of Health Services. We're not that scared. We got shots. Those who don't believe in shots, well, you got whatever you believe. But society is going back to normal. So we intend to go back to schools. And we're trying to get in bed with our government. That is pretty hard because people named Mohammed are not pretty much trusted that easy. So we have a bridge to climb over. So we're asking the good people, the good guys, especially the leadership. We say, look, we're looking for a symbiotic relationship here. And we're looking for access to equality and resources. Give us one or either. Or give us your networks, or give us your access, or give us your opportunities. And these things are things which you can make happen. And the reason why is because, again, we've tried surveillance, we've tried war. $6 trillion we've tried. Has the problem gone away? I mean, you can answer that, yes or no. I mean, anybody who with a mind can see that this problem is not going away. Because these people are fighting intergenerational, and we're fighting every election cycle. Every election cycle, a new person comes in and comes in with new ideas. That's not how you fight. You fight this way. You go into the communities, you go into the villages, you go into the community, you talk to the NGOs, you talk to the people, and you scale up the process, you scale up this, and it's cheap, it's cost effective. And it can be done by just about anybody. If an average Mohammed can do this. And I used to be a gas station manager when I started this process. Now I'm opening up a food factory in Minnesota, great Minnesota. Again, Utah is giving me a run for its money. But either we'll self-fund as we go on, or we can get access to resources. If we get access to resources, we can reach 1 billion people. Because it costs only 3 cents to reach an island. 3 cents. What is 3 cents? A bullet costs 81 cents. And we send billions of them to the world. It's investment. It's where you put your money. You can either use smarts or you can use brute. But if you use both, you can have an impact.
I'll keep asking questions all day. So, one question that I did have, and you mentioned it, is, so we're part of this larger network of nonprofits. There's about 90 of us throughout the United States that do the International Visitor Leadership Program through the U.S. State Department. And we're that organization for the state of Utah. How has can you talk about your interaction with the International Visitor Leadership Program, and how has that played a role in the work that you do on a global scale?
I have a list of organizations, NGO and activists who are literally crying, saying, Mohammed, bring your program to our country. I can do this. No resources for them or us. International Visa Leadership Program is one of the greatest programs the exchange culture organization in the State Department runs. It is because it's a window to the world. What Utah Citizen Council for Diplomacy, citizen diplomacy does is open you a window to the world. It brings people like me to your community. But it brings people who are diverse with different opinions to your community. Some opinions you need to hear, some opinions you need to shock you into action and movement and thinking about it. Because what happens is, it's called point of contact. You contact one person who contacts another person who contacts another person. Before you know it, you have a network. That is what Global Ties USA does, that's what Global Minnesota does, and that's what Felicia does for us here. So you guys are lucky to have Felicia.
I didn't pay him to do that.
No, but she gave me free coffee and free food. I gotta make sure that it's sustained while I'm still here. No, but seriously. The access I get to the State Department is impressive. And the people I talk to across the world is impressive. My program has been used in Trinidad, in all over the places, from Timbuktu to Tajikistan, from Tel Aviv to Tehran. People are watching my stuff, and it's all in English. I speak 3 languages, Swahili, English, and Somali, so I can only make it in 3 languages. Because again, I'm using my family members. I can't afford actors. And I'm paying most of it out of my own pocket. It is my own initiative. Because I believe for God, country, and humanity, spend. It will come back one way or the other. Either here or the hereafter, for those of us who believe. For those who don't, whatever you believe in, karma, kismet, reincarnation, your choice. Or if you don't believe, we are okay with it. So the goal is to say, look, this is what we're trying to do, this is what we're trying to achieve, but we need to scale up. We need to create it in Arabic, we need to put it in African dialects, we need to get actors, we need to get those organizations. Forget about an average Mohammed. There's an average Aisha, an average Khadija, an average Tom, an average Joe, everywhere in the world. Let's empower them. Let me teach them this process. Let me show them the process. And let me make them into what I call activists, who have day jobs. I have a day job. And I do this on the side, which is another 100 hours a week. And that tells you I have something in common with the Mormons who started Utah. We love working. You know, work is something that we love. So it's a passion. I believe in this. Because again, either I get my rewards here, free food from Felicia, or I get it in the here. Either way, I'm going to go.
I'm a middle school teacher. What would you like to see me do in my classroom?
I can Zoom. Bring the classroom, bring your whole school, it doesn't matter who, you tell me when, where, and I'll be there. And guess what? It's free. It won't cost you a dime. Just my time.
Do we have any other educators in the audience? Okay.
Well, I just have a follow-up question on that. So if we don't have access to you, what is the best way that, like, we just as citizens can promote, these ideas?
I knew that question was going to come from somebody. You can reach me through that, and I will give you my contacts. I can send the whole talking points and the cartoons, and you decide which ones you want to use. I have time of them. I'm trying to create a curriculum, so I try to reach out to the University of Minnesota, and they're very busy, and COVID ruined everything, you know. So anybody here who has expertise or who knows anybody who can create educational instructional material, I'd be happy and honored to do so. I'm trying to create more messages. We have more ideas than we do have resources. The ideas come easy, because the bad actors keep on doing bad things, and we can counter message it. It doesn't matter whether we use logic, we use the Quran, the Bible, it doesn't matter whether we use the Sanskrit, the Torah, as long as our message comes across. And in any way, any form, any shape, any way, and any means. Because the end justifies the means. Someone smart say that. I think it's Shakespeare, isn't it?
Final questions? question then. Beyond contacting you as Average Mohamed to come and talk to classrooms or following up with your website, what can everyday citizens, even in the state of Utah, do to help move this idea forward? What is something independent from Average Mohamed that you would share as a call to action tonight?
I would say, in America today, we are at each other's throats, whether you're the right or the left. It seems like there's no more middle ground. That middle ground whereby we used to talk and conversate decently, we don't. Now I come from the right, I'm a Republican. My brother is a legislator in Minnesota House, who's a Democrat. He's actually a legislator, he's actually making laws. And he was a refugee, we're immigrants. That's why I say Minnesota is great. So, love one another. Open your mind, have a conversation. Do what I do with my brother. We sit down and we don't talk politics. But we commit each other, we say what we agree on. Find common ground. There's a lot we don't agree on. That's okay. Find common ground on anything, with anybody. In other words, love one another. But do it with a smile and a laugh. Do it peaceful and nonviolent ways. Those are the best ways. It sticks. Peaceful, nonviolent ways. We have a history of it in America. From Susan B. Anthony to Frederick Douglass, to people who who are existing today in today's domain. We have a history from Martin Luther King to our leaders who we call lions. People who brought people together. Even when the country was tearing itself apart, Abraham Lincoln, the guy who failed at everything until he became president. He never gave up on America. Neither should you. So my call to action is you speak your voice, because you know what? If everyone else has a voice, who says yours doesn't matter? And don't silence it, don't fear. Because fear is what holds most people back. Have no fear, be fearless. Because if you are afraid, you will profit nobody. You will gain nothing. Your soul will stagnate and you will empower nobody. Be fearless. Fearless.
Please join me in thanking. One more question.
Yeah. I know our theme and so forth, but sometimes evil is so strong that you cannot really communicate when it's so determined that evil is gonna, because they have the guns. And I'm thinking a little bit of Ukraine and Russia a little bit somehow, where, there is no reason why two people could, in a world where we have, in a way, so many ways of approaching a problem and resolving it, instead we're choosing, atomic bombs or whatever. And I know that we're talking about a democracy and freedom, but sometimes people do see freedom almost, I don't know if it's sickly, mentally, in a way that there is not that goodness that could be resolved. I don't know if you
I'm
making
exactly what you're
sense,
saying.
but I think sometimes when you say fearless, and I understand what you're saying, but and I see the courage of the Ukrainian people, for instance, as an example. There are many others, of course, but I'm just focusing on that. And they use the word victorious, and they are not giving up, and they can see how they are moving forward, but there is also the sense of evil, or mentally just go in a different direction. And I just was wanting to see how you, kind of like you're saying, I don't look into tomorrow, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but the enemy is just breathing down, kind of like the lion that you're talking about is on the other side. Anyway, just a little bit more of a
Nuance.
hope that you would give us, or at least to me, with your kindness and your way how you look at the world in a way that, you know, goodness and freedom have really happened.
I made a message about Ukraine, and I'll send it to you. I'll share your contact with you and I'll email it to you. Basically, it says, what is Putin's agenda? Simple. I told you about the arc of dictatorship, theocracy, and communism rising. We've seen this before. This is nothing new. We've had nuclear weapons pointed at us, and they're still pointed at us by the same people. The bear is still pointing it at us, the Chinese are pointing it at us, and soon Iran will get a nuclear weapon, and they'll be pointing it at us. Now, what do we know? Do we give up? Do we say, look, the world will end in 5 minutes? That's what the scientists say in the world. The clock is ticking to what, 5 minutes before doom? I think you've seen that before. So if I have 5 minutes, I want to use that 5 minutes to talk about peace, to talk about freedom, to talk about liberty, to talk about freedom, to talk about democracy, why we want people's power. Because at the end of the day, people's power is me being powerful, you being powerful. Not the powerful and the elite. Now don't get me wrong, but the powerful and the elite exist and they serve a purpose in society, and I'm not against them. I don't want your money, I will make my own. Just leave us alone. Let us live our lives. That is the most revolutionary idea humanity has come up with, ever since the beginning of the civilization. That's something worth defending. Does evil exist? Yes. But will good prevail over evil? For some of us who believe, we believe that. If I didn't believe in that, I would not be wasting my time on this. If I didn't believe I can't reach a kid, I wouldn't be doing this. If I didn't believe I can't have an impact, I would not be doing this. I'd rather make my money, become a millionaire, and be happy. Buy things, travel things, and be like that lady, see 80 countries. You know? But I've spent it all on this, because again, at the end of the day, it's because we have hope. Hope is intangible. And that hope is a well and a spring which is eternal. And we replenish it all the time. Like me coming to Utah and seeing nice people. I walked from my hotel in Little America to downtown. I went to the main market and I met a guy. His name's Omar. If you ever go to the main market, you'll find him there. He's from Jalalabad, Afghanistan. Lived in Utah for 50 years. Went to BYU, graduated in 1982. So I asked him, I said, it's between me and you. What do you think? How is life? How is the community doing? Because I do my own surveillance of society. You ask the working people, and the working people will tell you the truth always, every time. So I talk to working people. The butlers, the valet people, the restaurant owners, and they tell you what's going on. And from what I've heard, and what I've seen, you guys are good. Better than most. And that's something to be proud of. So good existing. Why should it exist in Timbuktu or Bahrain or in Israel or in Palestine or in Africa or in Asia? Why shouldn't we have what we have here, there? So I'm an evangelist for that. Am I a dreamer? Yes. Is this going to happen in my lifetime? No. But like I said, this is intergenerational. There will be another Average Mohamed. And we will do this work. So you gotta have hope. It's eternal, it springs. I have hope in here. And I smile and I laugh. Sometimes we cry. But usually we smile and I laugh.
Thank you. So I was listening to a podcast the other day. They studied nonviolent protests versus using ammunition and power, of course. And looking over about 120 years, they found that nonviolent movements are twice as effective as violent movements. They also talked about some of the things that people have where you're actually mocking your opponent, you're making them look silly. They gave a great example of a country that wasn't allowed to fly a separatist flag. So they got together, they went in front of the government building or downtown area, and they tied the flag to cats' tails. So the police, if they went to, what are they going to do? They can't chase these cats all over town. But they made these viral videos of these flags all over the place, and the police standing there being useless and not being able to do anything about it. And I was intrigued by, and I gave 2 other examples about how they used humor to get a point across. And especially if you're reaching out to kids. And I was just wondering if you thought about that as a way to try to get viral videos.
Good question. I thought about humor. I don't have a funny bone in my life. I'm a very dry kind of guy. And I speak brutally honest. People don't like that. And my funny is not funny. I got dad jokes all day. Dad jokes all day. Now, funny you talk about that because I'm working on a project. We're working with an organization out of Kenya. We create satire to promote democracy, to promote values of independent media, to promote values of women equity in Somalia. We're actually working on it this week, next week. Hopefully we get funded to go pilot. Hopefully, not only. That's the hardest part. And we call it Kaftan Show. Kaftan means in Somali means humor show. And we're going to do the same thing. The show is called XYZ. You can actually see, they make fun. It's actually originated in France. And the people of France taught the people of Kenya, and now people of Kenya teaching as Americans to export it to Somalia. And guess what? The humor will be about, well, guess who? Politicians. Because that's the common denominator, people know, and the famous people. And of course, with me, we're going after Shabaab. And we'll make fun of them. So I have writers, script writers, comedians. I'm putting together a whole team, of a production team. This is something I've never done before. So I'm going that route. And if you're interested, share your contacts with me. I'll send you a research paper written about jihadi humor, how it's effective. A jihadi with a cat was the most sensational viral videos of jihad in Syria, not the beheading videos. Think about that. Them riding horses was the most effective counter-ideology propaganda they could produce, ideological propaganda they could produce. Not their hands-chopping videos or their threats. That's what allured the people, because they were looking for that idyllic life. These people are looking for something to believe in. Let's give them something to believe in, and let's make them laugh. So I'm going around, and inshallah, if God wills it, we will get what we're asking for. And if we get what we're asking for, I will send you the first show. Share your contact with me, because I'm asking you as a favor, join my YouTube. You get all the videos I make. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere else. That'd be amazing. I could use the followers, because you never know what you like and who else you can impact. Yes, sir.
So Mohamed, earlier you mentioned that it's, to acquire, to produce a video, the work that you do is about approximately 30 cents as opposed to 83 cents per bullet.
To reach a person with a message is 3 cents.
3 cents.
A bullet costs 81 cents.
Okay. So why do you think you're not getting enough traction as far as or enough resources to be able to reach more community worldwide? Because obviously we've tried war and that didn't work out. So why do you think is a problem? Why are you not getting those resources?
Because of resource allocation. Corporations don't want to touch this stuff, because anything you say now has opposing sides. So corporations are afraid, and they're the ones who are the funders. They need to get a backbone quickly, because society is changing and I need them in the wrong direction. Today, ask Americans what's the most common thing they believe in. It doesn't matter whether you're on the right or on the left, they say we're heading in the wrong direction. You know why? the bullet will get sent around the world? It has a lobbyist. It has a lobbyist. They buy your politicians who make laws, who pass the money on to them. Who here is passing money and passing laws for citizen diplomacy? In America. Is there any lobbies? Do you guys have a lobbies?
No.
You see, we have a saying in Africa, we say, Kibaja Jauza Gazurija Bay. That's Swahili. It says, meaning that the good is for sale and the bad is free. So you will get the bad and the bad ideas. But Winston Churchill quote America very right. He said, America will do everything wrong until it gets to the right decision. We're getting there to the right decision. We have an administration in the Biden administration, in the State Department, that is basically now funded to do this kind of work. But they're limited. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is funded and applied for a grant. And hopefully, inshallah, knock on wood, the fourth time they say yes. And I go back into schools again. For the first time, they're hearing us. Department of Justice has taken off its gloves under AG Garland. In fact, that cartoon you see, being made, the last one I showed you, is a gift to the Department of Justice. They inspired. They inspired. Biden administration inspired. And I'm a Republican and I'm saying this publicly. God help me. Are you recording this? Hopefully you don't show it to my Republican friends. But you kind of get the idea, right? So, we need resources. We need an equal opportunity. We need people who lobby for peace in nonviolent ways. It is profitable for the violent ways. And we do have something called the military-industrial complex. I have nothing against them, because I see a need for them in this world. But put a little bit. Spend that 81 cents on the bullet, but put 3 cents to catch an eye and get to win them with your ideas. 3 cents, and we can't find it. 8 years I've been knocking on this wood. 8 years I've been knocking on wood. We hope things change now.
I just want to say thank you for being such a great citizen diplomat. We need more people to talk about what they do in their everyday life as an average Mohammed, as an average Beth, as an average Haley, to really demonstrate how foreign relations and international relations can be developed just by talking to one another and being with one another. So I want to thank you for the work that you do. I want to thank you for coming to Utah. And we hope to see you again. Please join me in thanking Mohamed for his time.